Story recapped here. Today, I'm going to explain a horror film called The Devil's Rejects. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. Somewhere in Ruggsville County, Texas, a man named Tiny drags a woman's lifeless body across the woods. But he stops and removes a burlap sack covering his burnt face when he sees a squad of police cars heading towards the Firefly house. When the police arrive at their destination, they park their cars and prepare themselves for a shootout. The family sleeps inside, oblivious to the arrival of the authorities. As they get into position, Sheriff John Quincy Weidel utters some encouragement to Officer Ray Dobson, saying that dying is not an option for them. He grabs the speaker box and calls out to the family, telling them that they're surrounded. The family immediately wakes up and scrambles to grab their weapons. Baby asks Rufus Jr. if he's seen Tiny around, but Rufus says he didn't. Mama Firefly tells her that Tiny went out the previous night. As Mother Firefly puts on an iron mask as a shield, she reminisces when Baby was born, saying she looked like an angel. The rest of the family puts on their masks and prepares to fire back at the police. Outside, the sheriff tells his men to get ready and starts counting to 3. Bullets begin to fly as soon as he finishes counting. Otis fires his Armalite and hits a cop. He also hits Weidel, causing him to stagger, but the sheriff remains alive due to the bulletproof vest. Weidel fires his shotgun repeatedly at the windows as he slowly walks toward the house. Before reaching the door, he orders the men to stop firing and tells Dobson to throw tear gas into the house. The firefight continues inside the house as the family refuses to surrender. Rufus, who is wearing full body armor, hits several officers in the shootout. The family takes cover in the kitchen as the cops start firing at Rufus repeatedly. Rufus eventually dies despite his thick body armor. Mother Firefly rushes over to him while Otis and Baby make a run for it. The sheriff tells Mother Firefly to stop moving, but she grabs a gun and points it to her head. She tells the sheriff that she won't let them get her. Mother Firefly then pulls the trigger, but she's out of bullets. Baby and Otis make their way out of the house through a tunnel in the basement, where they keep their prisoners. A nurse driving down the road sees Baby lying on the ground, so she gets out of the car to check on her. While the nurse tries to listen to what she's saying, Baby holds her down while Otis sneaks up on her and stabs her in the back. They steal the nurse's car and drive away. Meanwhile, the sheriff tells his men to search the vicinity for Otis and Baby while the others raid the house. Inside they see severed heads in refrigerators and skulls used as decorations. In the crawl space of the house, they find several decomposing bodies. Dobson calls the sheriff's attention to a notebook containing pictures of the family's victims. Weidel recognizes a clown who appears in many of the photos, grinning with glee while posing with the victims. Captain Spaulding watches himself on TV with delight as he promotes his new attraction featuring Mary the Monkey. However, his mood soon changes when the commercial is suddenly interrupted by a news update about the raid at the Firefly house. Before he could pay close attention to the news, he receives a phone call from Baby, telling him that he has to hide from the police. Spaulding tells Baby that he'll meet them at the Kahiki Palms Motel as they've planned in cases of emergency. Spaulding soon contacts his adopted brother, Charlie, telling him that he will come over to his brothel to hide for a while. Charlie says it might not be a good idea, but Spaulding insists on coming. Unfortunately, Spaulding leaves the phone hanging before Charlie could balk. Otis and Baby arrive at the motel, but Baby is irked that Spaulding is not there yet. Otis becomes enraged when he hears the news mentioning Spaulding as a crime suspect on the radio. Meanwhile, a traveling band called Banjo and Sullivan is also checking into the same motel. Roy Sullivan, who sings for the band, meets Baby while getting some ice for his wife. Baby soon starts flirting with Roy by talking dirty to him. Roy, shocked by what he's hearing, asks her to repeat the things she said. In the band's room, Roy's wife Gloria watches a talk show discussing crimes that seem to be linked to Satanism. She asks their bandmate, Adam Banjo, to switch the channel because she's getting bored with the show. Back outside, Baby asks Roy if he wants to take her to his room. Roy tells her that his wife is there, but Baby insists on going anyway. She threatens him, saying his brother will shoot him if he doesn't take her to their room. Otis suddenly turns up behind him, pointing a gun at his head. Gloria asks Adam to switch the channel again, so he grudgingly complies. Baby and Otis abruptly storm into the room while pointing a gun at Roy. The duo tells the group to sit on the bed. Otis hears the shower running and asks Adam who's in the bathroom. Adam tries to stop him from going inside, but Otis shoves him to the bed. Otis goes into the toilet and drags Adam's wife, Wendy, out to the bedroom. When he asks if everyone is in the room, Roy nods, but their roadie, Jimmy, suddenly knocks on the door. Baby gets out to greet Jimmy, who thinks that he knocked on the wrong door. She tells him that he has the right room and invites him in. Once he's inside, Otis forces him down on his knees and shoots him in the head. The horrified band members scream as they watch Jimmy's body drop to the floor. Meanwhile, Spaulding runs out of gas on his way to the motel. When he pulls over, he sees a mother and a child walking towards their vehicle, so he approaches them. Spaulding tells the mother he needs their car because he has a top-secret clown business that requires his presence. The woman laughs it off, but when she realizes that Spaulding is serious, he tells her son to lock the door and walks toward the driver's seat. Spaulding follows her and knocks her out, and gets inside the car. Before driving away, Spaulding threatens the child and tells him to get out of the vehicle. Back at the motel, Baby taunts Roy by dancing seductively in front of him. Otis asks Roy if he's enjoying the show. He says no because he has a wife. Otis tells Gloria to get up and strip for him to see what Roy likes so much about her. Gloria reluctantly removes her clothes after Otis threatens to shoot someone in the room. Roy covers his face with a hat as Otis starts stroking his wife with his gun. When Otis puts the gun in her underwear, she starts kissing him and pretends to enjoy it. Otis forces her to go down on him, but he gets bored and shoves her away. He then calls Adam and Roy to take a drive with him in their van. Whittle arrives at the police station to interrogate Mother Firefly. He shows him a picture of her family and tells her that Baby will end up dead if she doesn't tell them where they are. Mother Firefly derides him by showing the sheriff a picture of Whittle's deceased brother, George, when the family killed him. The sheriff strikes her with a closed fist and shoves her to the wall. He tells her that he will hunt down her family and make them experience the same suffering that their victims felt. Other police officers pull him away as he starts to strangle her. Otis makes Adam drive to a junkyard to take the guns he buried there. Roy asks what he's going to do with them once they finish the task. He tells them, that's the end of the road, implying that he'll kill them. He gets irritated when they ask him just to let them go, so he scolds Roy, telling him he's the one calling the shots. While he yells at Roy, Adam grabs a large piece of wood and hits Otis on the head. While Otis is down, he tells Roy to take the gun. Adam chokes Otis with the piece of wood, but Otis manages to grab a knife and stabs Adam in the leg. As Otis tries to take his gun from Roy, Adam pulls out the knife and walks toward Otis to stab him. Otis, however, manages to point the gun at Adam and shoot while Roy was holding the weapon. Adam gets hit in the neck. Otis hits Roy repeatedly with a piece of wood and asks Roy to pray before bashing his head until he dies. He then walks over to Adam and stabs him repeatedly with the knife. At the motel, Wendy asks Baby if she could go to the bathroom. Baby tells her that she has to do something for her before she can go, so she asks her to hit Gloria in the face. She hits Gloria lightly, so Baby tells her to do it harder. She hits her harder, but Baby is still not satisfied. Baby finally agrees to let Wendy go to the toilet when she strikes Gloria hard. Once inside, she locks the door and starts yelling for help. When Baby tries to go after her, Gloria runs to the table to grab the gun. Baby, hiding a knife behind her, tries to convince Gloria not to shoot her, saying she's their only hope in surviving their ordeal because her brother's crazy. While still pointing a gun at Baby, Gloria tells Wendy that it's alright to come out. While Gloria is distracted, Baby flings the knife at Gloria, hitting her in the chest. Gloria yanks the knife from her chest in shock. Baby then pulls down her pants, telling Gloria to go ahead and shoot her. So Gloria pulls the trigger and finds out that it's not loaded. As Baby pulls her pants back up, Wendy runs out of the bathroom and sprints toward the door. As soon as she gets out, she calls for help by knocking on every room and yelling. She runs over to a man, thinking he would help her. But when she reaches him, Baby calls out to him, telling him to grab Wendy. Spaulding then headbutts Wendy, knocking her to the ground. At the police station, Dobson learns that Captain Spaulding is one of the characters from a Marx Brothers movie. They contact a movie critic who lists all the Marx Brothers significant characters and a list of films that featured Groucho. Whittle looks at the list and discovers that all the aliases used by the Firefly family were characters from Marx Brothers movies. Back at the motel, Otis bursts into the room to scare off the people inside by wearing Adam's face as a mask. As they prepare to leave, Baby asks Spaulding what they should do with Wendy. Spaulding hints that they should let the maid deal with her in the morning. Otis says he has a better idea. He then shows Wendy the detached face of Adam and puts it on her face. When the maid goes inside to clean up the next day, she finds the dead bodies of Gloria and Jimmy in the bathroom. As she is heading out, she sees Wendy hanging on the front door with her husband's face strapped to her head. Wendy falls on top of the maid and tries to ask her for help. The maid, however, breaks free and runs out of the room. Wendy follows her out, but she soon decides to run to the middle of the road and flag the cars down for help. Unfortunately, a truck runs over her, leaving her entrails scattered on the road. Whittle arrives at the scene and asks the maid if she saw Spaulding and his kids, but she said she never came across them. Whittle then meets with a pair of bounty hunters named Rondo and Billy Ray Snapper to help him track down the trio. Later that night, Whittle stops by the Firefly house and goes to the basement. He sees a man sitting on the couch and points the gun at him, thinking that he is Spaulding. When he takes a closer look, he sees his deceased brother George. He tells Whittle that he's living in the Firefly's basement now, and he can't rest until every member of the Firefly family is dead. He asks Whittle to kill them. Whittle soon wakes up from the dream in his office upon hearing the phone ring. Rondo has called Whittle to let him know that he tracked a guy using the alias Wolf J. Flywheel and he has a partner who refers to himself as the Captain. Rondo went on to inform him that Flywheel's real name is Charlie Altamont. Whittle pays a visit to Mother Firefly in jail and tells the guard to go home. She immediately starts taunting him, saying she knew he wouldn't be able to resist her. Mother Firefly then asks him if he enjoys doing it rough. Whittle indulges her and picks her up from the ground, telling her that he'd rather do it slowly. As Mother Firefly continues to provoke him, Whittle suddenly stabs her in the chest. After watching the light fade away from her eyes, Weidel pulls the knife out of her chest and tosses it on the table. The murderous trio soon arrives at Charlie's brothel to hide there for a while. After catching up with Charlie on old times, the three go inside to party with his girls. Charlie goes to a farm the following day to buy fresh chickens for Spaulding. However, Weidel blocks them on their way out and asks them about the clown. When Charlie pretends not to know him, Weidel pulls the truck's door to squeeze Charlie's fingers. The sheriff tells Charlie to make sure that Spaulding and his kids are at the brothel at midnight, threatening to shoot him if he refuses. Weidel visits Rondo and Billy Ray to tell them that he wants the captain and his kids alive. That night, Charlie and Spaulding enjoy drinks while Otis is in bed with a girl named Candy. Baby is enjoying a bath while talking to Cassie, a worker at the brothel. When Cassie goes to the fridge to get a drink for Baby, Rondo grabs her and slashes her neck. Meanwhile, Billy Ray interrupts Candy and Otis while they're fooling around with each other. Candy grabs a gun and points it at Billy, but he shoots her in the head. Otis attacks Billy, but the bounty hunter throws him out the window. When Rondo comes across Baby, he immediately tells her to get out of the bathtub and get dressed. Weidel soon shows up inside the brothel to confront Spaulding while he's enjoying a smoke. The sheriff chugs down a shot of liquor and slams the glass on the bar before facing the clown. Spaulding is surprised to see Weidel, but he soon starts provoking him. He tells the sheriff to make sure he's dead when he shoots because when he comes back, he'll make him suffer. Weidel shoots Spaulding in the leg and takes him outside. Charlie stands around and watches Rondo and Billy Ray load the three killers into the truck. Charlie tells Spaulding not to take the betrayal personally because it was just business. Weidel brings the family back to their house and ties them up in the basement. The sheriff tells them that his family has always been involved in vigilante justice, even though he wanted to follow the rules at one point. He then shows them a picture of a girl who was found in their house. Otis, without any remorse, recalls that he cut her tongue out and tied her to his bed for a month. Weidel walks over to him and staples the picture to his chest, telling him that he can have the photo as a souvenir. When he shows them another image, Baby tells him that she's her victim. So, he staples the photo to Baby's chest and hits her face with a bottle. Later, the sheriff shows Spaulding a picture of his late brother. Spaulding starts insulting Weidel's brother, so the sheriff proceeds to electrocute him with a cattle prod. He proceeds to beat Spaulding repeatedly with the prod before using it to shock Otis. He then shows Baby a picture of Mother Firefly and tells her that he killed the woman the other day. Baby refuses to believe him, but he assures her that the photos are real. He goes on to tell Baby that he has something special just for her. Weidel goes back to Otis to nail his hands to the armrest of the chair, mocking him as he pounds on the nail. He goes on to untie Baby and tells her to run while the other two are unconscious. The sheriff pours gasoline on the floor and lights it up. While running from Weidel, Baby goes inside the barn to look for something she can use as a weapon. Charlie suddenly grabs her from behind, telling her to calm down so he could help her get away. Charlie takes her to his car and tells her to stay put. As he is leaving, Weidel shows up and hacks him with an axe. As Baby tries to get away, the sheriff shoots her in the leg. He then starts hitting her with a bullwhip and tries to choke her to death. As he continues to attack Baby, Tiny appears behind him and grabs him by the neck. Tiny twists Weidel's neck and drops him to the ground. As Baby catches her breath, she tells Tiny that Otis and Spaulding are still in the house. Tiny goes inside to pull out the nails from Otis' hands and untie Spaulding. After getting out of the house, the trio gets inside the car and says farewell to Tiny, who goes back to their burning home. The family drives away, feeling weary from their ordeal. Spaulding and Baby fall asleep in the back of the convertible while Otis drives. However, he stops when he comes across a roadblock. Instead of turning back, he wakes up the two in the backseat and hands them their weapons. Baby gets up on the backseat and aims her revolver at the cops, prompting them to get into position and shoot back at them. While Otis drives toward the roadblock, the police shower the trio with bullets hitting them multiple times. Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.